mark the scalp. In his case, it's a little bit simple, but because oftentimes you have to have them turn over, but especially with somebody that has a lot of hair, because when they turn over, you're like, where was I? So it's much easier if I mark the scalp so I know where I was. So I make sure that I have this hair tip on because it makes it a little easier to follow along. And then we're going to set our energy to 5. There we go. And we have the tip on the yellow. No, sorry, static. And I'm going to put on, you can change how long you wait in between pulses, but I want to wait the least. So I'm putting it on the 0.5 seconds. And as you can see, the coverage for each pass is 3.1. We're looking for 5 or 6%. And you have to press to ready. It's a nice little do-do-do-do. And here we go. And then we're going to do it one more time because remember we want to get 5 to 6%. This should be 6%. So you want to hear that little, you can hear it like a snap, crackle, and pop sound because that means you're on the scalp. And if it's too uncomfortable, you want to lower the energy by at least 1 to 2 joules. How is it feeling?
Oh, it feels fine.
Fine. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't need any kind of additional anesthetic or even cold air because it's not a high energy. Again, our goal is not to be resurfacing his scalp, but to penetrate the serum. And if you're not sure, you can always add a little bit around the border like this. Still doing okay?
Oh yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you to roll on your stomach. So see, we do have our line, which is helpful because it's very disorienting when people turn over. And back here, you want to make sure that the hair and the scalp are dry, completely dry before you start lasing, because as I said before, if the hair is wet at all, it can become the focus, because it has chromophore on it, of the laser, and then you will singe hair. And people get really upset if you singe their hair, because even though it's temporary. Also, it's obviously then preventing the laser energy from getting to the scalp, which is where we want it to be. So I might, even though this seems so simple, you kind of get caught up in it. I might just divide this in a couple of places so that I kind of remember where I was. And we're going to start over here. In this location, I'm going to go the other way because it's easier to see. As you can see, we've got and I'm doing 2 passes because each pass is about 3%. 3% probably won't get us quite enough absorption, so rather have the 5 to 6%. Still doing okay?
Yep.
And one thing you definitely do not want to do is you should not get the hair wet at any time, even though it's tempting, because obviously if the hair was wet, it would be easier for me to part it. So you're thinking, oh, this is going to be a lot easier if I just wet the hair. But as soon as you wet the hair becomes a target for the laser, which is not what we want. We want the scalp to be the target. And we don't want to be singeing people's hair, because that is exactly the opposite of what they want, because then they'll have some temporary hair loss. And that, even though it's temporary, will make them very unhappy. So we've completed that portion, and now we're going to put in the serum. So we get about 7 cc's. We've drawn it up with a 20 gauge needle or an 18 gauge needle from the serum bottle. And now we're going to take this off, because we don't want to jab them with. And what we're going to do, so when you have a bigger scalp, it's more of an issue that you want to make sure that you have enough for the whole scalp. Here we shouldn't have any problem to have enough. But what I'm going to do is just go a little bit and I'm going to rub it in. So it's very important not to do this as you go along. It would be tempting, because it would seem like it might be easier to do a row and then put the serum in and then do another row. And the reason we don't do that is, again, because inevitably some of the hair that you haven't treated will get wet, and then that will create a problem, because again, it would make a chromophore for the laser and wind up singeing hair, which is something we want to avoid. This doesn't really singe the hair when it's dry, because there isn't very much water for the laser to put its energy into in dry hair. So for any of you who have used Thulium a lot, like for instance for the face, for rejuvenation, you know that I like to use it a lot for even my medical patients for actinic keratosis. And a lot of times they get actinic keratoses that go into their eyebrows. And, you know, you don't want to, it's tough to get them out of the eyebrow. So I love being able to just use the laser to go right over their eyebrow. Now before I have him turn around, because I know the frontal area is a little bit less, so I'm saving some. I'm going to give him a nice good massage. Which nobody complains about. All right, let's have the pillow bath. I'm going to ask you to roll back over now on your back. And now we're going to get that frontal part. And this doesn't sting, right?
No, not at all.
So there's really no discomfort involved in this procedure, which of course is a huge thing, because nobody likes discomfort. And then we don't have to use anesthetic cream. We don't have to use a Zimmer chiller really for this. So it's a nice procedure where, of course, it's always nice to have somebody to assist you, but you don't really need an assistant for a procedure like this. So if you don't mind today, don't wash or dry your hair today, okay?
Okay.
Just leave it be, don't put anything in it. And tomorrow you can do whatever you like. And there's really no restrictions, you can do whatever you like today, other than wash or dry your hair. All right, you can go ahead and sit up, you're all done?
Nothing. Couldn't even feel. Couldn't even feel it.
Couldn't feel it.
No.
Okay, tip your head down for us. You can see that he's, you know, you can see the erythema scattered through here, but it's mild. I don't know if you can get a close-up of this. And so, you know, ordinarily we do a series of 6, one every 2 weeks, to really jumpstart that hair to grow.